Louisiana, 1889. The swamp did not sleep. At night it breathed. Mist rose from the black water like a living thing, wrapping cypress trees in ghost-white fingers. Frogs croaked warnings. Insects screamed. Somewhere beneath the surface, ancient jaws waited, and yet this was the place they sent people to die. Blackwater Plantation lay hidden beyond the swamp, miles from the nearest town. On paper, it had been abandoned years earlier. Officially, no one lived there. No crops were registered. No workers were listed. But 31 human beings lived and labored on that land. They believed they were still slaves, not because the law said so, but because no one had ever told them otherwise. She was 13 years old. Eliza had been born in 1876, 11 years after slavery was abolished in America. But on Blackwater Plantation, time had frozen. The Civil War was spoken of as a lie. Freedom was described as a rumor invented to trick the weak. Eliza scrubbed floors in the main house from sunrise to nightfall. Her hands were cracked and bleeding. Her knees ached constantly. She ate what was left, if anything was left at all. The plantation owner, Henry Blackwood, liked to remind them of their place. Outside this land, he would say, there is nothing for your kind, only chains and bullets. People believed him, all except Eliza, because Eliza remembered her mother's final words. Her mother had died in childbirth, her voice barely strong enough to whisper, "If you ever get a chance, run." That sentence lived inside Eliza like a buried spark. On August 21st, 1889, the rain came hard and fast. Thunder shook the ground, lightning tore open the sky. Eliza took it as a sign. She waited until the plantation fell quiet, until the overseer's lantern went dark. She slipped out of her shack barefoot, wearing only a thin cotton dress. No food, no water, no direction, only the swamp. She knew the stories. People said the swamp swallowed runaways whole, that snakes crawled into sleeping mouths, that alligators dragged bodies under without a sound. But Eliza knew something worse waited if she stayed. She ran. Branches tore at her skin, mud sucked at her feet, rain soaked her hair until it clung to her face. She did not stop. She did not look back. Not until she heard the dogs. Henry Blackwood woke furious. A missing slave meant defiance, and defiance demanded punishment. "Release them," he ordered. 4 bloodhounds burst from their pen, ribs visible beneath their skin. They had been trained since birth to hunt human scent. They never failed. The dogs hit the swamp at full speed. Eliza heard them long before she saw them. Barking, deep, violent, closing fast. She ran until her lungs burned. She tripped, fell hard, scraped her palms raw, then forced herself up again. The barking grew closer. She reached water. The swamp stretched before her, dark, silent, endless. Remembering something she once overheard, Eliza did the unthinkable. She stepped in. The water swallowed her legs, then her waist, then her chest. She lowered herself until only her nose and eyes remained above the surface. She did not move. The dogs reached the bank minutes later. They paced, snarled, confused. One splashed into the water, another followed. Eliza held her breath until her chest screamed. Then slowly, the dogs moved away. The swamp accepted her. Eliza crawled onto dry ground hours later, shaking violently. Fever burned through her body. Her vision blurred. She collapsed. When she woke, someone was watching her. "You're either the bravest child I've seen," a voice said, "or the dumbest." An elderly black woman stepped into view, holding a rusted knife. Her name was June Walker. June had escaped a plantation decades earlier. The swamp had become her home and her weapon. She knew which plants confused dogs, which roots burned human skin, which paths left no trail. "You don't run from monsters," June said. "You learn how they think." June fed Eliza, treated her wounds, told her the truth. Slavery had ended. The law was on their side. What Blackwood was doing was a crime, and someone needed to expose it. Eliza could have kept running. She didn't. She went north with June's help, reaching a free black settlement called Cedar Hollow. There, for the first time, Eliza saw black people walking unafraid, owning land, laughing openly. She told them everything. They listened, and then they acted. 2 weeks later, federal marshals rode into Blackwater Plantation. They found chains hidden beneath floorboards, unmarked graves behind the fields, scars carved into human backs. Henry Blackwood was arrested screaming. The overseers tried to flee. They didn't make it far. 31 people walked off that land as free human beings. Some cried. Some stood in silence, unsure how to exist without fear. Eliza found herself shaking, not from terror this time, but from disbelief. She had done this. 10 years later, Eliza stood in a schoolhouse she helped build. She taught children to read, to write, to question. Above the chalkboard she had written, "The swamp still existed, dark, silent, watching, but it no longer belonged to fear. It belonged to the girl who survived it.